Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading. We are going to talk about love, dating, romance, sex, things of that nature, those topics. Please come into the reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something and better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate for you, that is totally fine. Feel free to push them aside. You may want to revisit them at a later date. You are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. This is optional advice, guidance, and energy check-in. So trust your own intuition above all else. That being said, let's try and get you some helpful, insightful messages about your love life. Here we go for Aquarius. Gonna do a little 9-card spread here, I think, if the cards are willing to. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy fall. Well, depending on where you are in the world, right? All right. Whoops. One more card, please. Okay. This one's sticking out. It wants to be seen. The Hierophant and the Moon. So some of you may be committing to a Pisces. Some of you, there may be fears about marriage feelings coming up about the topic or the conversation of commitment as well. But yeah, marriage with a Pisces or commitment with maybe a Taurus. I don't know. That's kind of a random message in and of itself. Let's hop into your actual tarot spread here. So it's all centered around the Knight of Swords. I feel like you may have options. Oh, the Creator. How interesting. So the Eight of Pentacles. I think there's an understanding that in order to, I'm hearing the word stoke as in like stoke a fire, but in the context of in order to like stoke a relationship, I don't know why that's coming through, but it is. In order to get the passion back or turn up the intensity, you may have to pull yourself away from work a little bit more and create better life balance. Because you have a person here who's very dedicated to you and wants to be in your life and wants to support you. I don't know if you know who this is or not yet. Some of you are already with this person. Some of you are not. It might be a Leo or a Capricorn for some of you. There's a person who definitely has eyes for you and they're interested, but they feel like you don't see them or you're so engrossed in your work that they always take a back seat to those projects. The thing is, I think you're slowly starting to understand that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you do feel like you have responsibility elsewhere and you know, your hand in multiple cookie jars, even if that's not dating per se. For some of you, it might be. For some of you, there may be a Virgo or a Cancer that you're kind of interested in, but and I'm saying this because of the tiger, pardon the sexual metaphor, but you're not like pouncing on it yet, if that makes sense. Yeah, there could have been a breakup or a sort of a mutual, like, let's take a break type energy. Again, Capricorn, Cancer, Virgo, the sign doesn't really matter. But you still think about this person for sure. But then it's showing up sort of as the Ten of Swords, which does talk about final endings and closure and things of that sort. So I don't know if there's a chance for that to revive itself, but it is coming up in terms of sort of conflict in what's sort of not helping or not enabling you to move forward in a new relationship or to heal, is that there's still sort of a fixation on someone from your past. Very likely someone that you did have like a sexual relationship with or at least maybe slept together a few times, because there is a focus on like the body. There's definitely memories of like the body and the physical touch and what that felt like and sort of, you know, those intimate moments you guys shared together. So then moving into the present, you're coming from Page of Wands. So a lot of you may be putting yourself back out there. It's funny, I'm seeing this storyline almost in 3 different directions where I don't know if you realize it, Aquarius, but you do have options. You definitely have people like kind of interested in you, but they're not the type of people who are going to diminish their own self-worth and value and like devote themselves to you when you're kind of giving them, I don't know if it's icy vibes or just kind of indifferent, aloof. I don't know what it is, but like you have your eyes focused on one here, but then there's potentially 2 or 3 others that are like interested but not hearing back from you. And so they're perplexed is a very good word. There's people around you who are very perplexed about where you stand and if if you're interested in a partnership with them, or going to ask them out again, or vice versa, if they should ask you out again. Because I'm not sure you even realize that that's kind of the vibe you're giving off. And again, this message won't be for everybody, but it does feel like I'm reading for someone who's really kind of struggling to get beyond someone from their past. And for some of you, it might be that you're already with the person that you love. However, because things are getting more serious, and I always say, the next milestone in what is a developing relationship. So maybe it's moving in together. Maybe it's engagement. Maybe it's talk of starting a family. Maybe it's, it could be a lot of things. But if you're already with someone and things are getting more serious and, talks of the future, it could be that you're kind of having that moment of, oh gosh, am I really ready for this? Internally, I don't necessarily think you're expressing that to your partner, but the thing is, your partner is well aware that you're already having those sort of like triggers of like, oh, this is getting really serious. Am I ready for this? And I'm not saying you're not. It's just that you're sort of having self-doubts, or again, you're really thinking it through, and I applaud that. You're not jumping into a situation, willy-nilly, half-heartedly, just like, yeah, I'll figure it out. That's not the energy here at all. It's very contemplative. It's a complex scenario going on. But I think with that, you understand that if you're going to move forward with this person, it means you have to sever ties with whoever this person is from the past is that you're still maybe holding on to. This person in your past was very sweet. They could have been a teacher or worked with children, or they just sort of had this kind of, I'm hearing the word vibe. They had like a good vibe that was maybe, very warm and bright and maybe like childlike. There may have been something very innocent about them. They could have had very youthful features in some capacity, very playful, very flirty, very witty, something like that. The person of the past here may also have health issues, and that could have been a reason why they had to pull out of a situation. Others of you, and I don't predict anything scary, this is showing up in the past anyway, but I always want to reassure people, I don't predict things like death, but it's possible that some Aquarians may have had an ex or a spouse that actually did pass away, or something happened where it felt like they were removed from the picture. And so with that, then there is kind of this somber, like, I miss them, but I understand that it's not necessarily a option for me to move forward, in that direction anymore. So I do need to pursue other things, but in that case, it doesn't feel like you're ready. It feels like you're definitely mourning the loss of something, and in which case, healing is in order, and you don't need to rush into another relationship. That being said, when you are ready to pursue other options, whenever you reach that point, and obviously there's no rush, healing is not linear, sometimes we feel like we've made strides, and then sometimes we have to pull back a little bit and take time for ourselves. When you are ready to get back out there, though, you have at least 2, if not 3 options of people who are like checking you out. It could be someone at work. It could be someone who's already in like your circle of friends. Both these energies, though, are really similar to me. It's like whoever these people are, they're in the same scenario where maybe you gave off this fun, flirtatious vibe and then kind of withdrew and pulled back. And like, it's like they caught a taste of something they liked and they're like, wait, what happened to my Aquarius? Like, what happened to that like fun, cheery, chipper, charismatic person? Like, what happened? And obviously something did happen. Maybe you're mourning the loss of someone else that isn't necessarily an ex, right? It could be a family member. It could be a friend. There could be some sort of major heavy loss in your life that it took a toll on your heart, and you're only human, Aquarius, right? It's okay to go through that process of really feeling and processing, even though that's not always the most comfortable thing to do. It's so necessary just for you in your individual life, but also, in your interpersonal relationships as well. So yeah, some sort of culmination. Again, Page of Wands here, it's like putting yourself out there a little bit, having like a little bit of fire to share with people, a little light, a little bit of energy, but then sort of withdrawing on that. It does eventually kind of transition into the Knight of Wands. So, your desire or your passion to pursue a romantic relationship does grow stronger, but it's such a subtle Knight of Wands. Like, typically the Knight of Wands, or any knights, are shown on horseback and they're riding. They're all about swift change and movement. And like, this one's supposed to be fire, right? And even the color, the depiction of this Knight of Wands, it's so cold. Like, there's a lot of white and there's a lot of blue. It's like, it's a little bit frosty. Ice, it's a little bit icy. There could be a relationship too in your romantic life or a personal life, a family member that you're quite literally icing out. Obviously, that's going to be different for everyone, but I am sort of getting this idea of turning your back on someone and I'm sure you have your reasons. I'm not here to comment if that's, correct or not, because, it just is what it is. I just see that in the cards of mourning the loss of somebody, but then a totally separate person. There's someone, it's like you're not giving them the time of day anymore. This could have been someone who you felt like they played games with your heart, or like you saw a vision with them, but then their words didn't match their action. It's possible that you have a romantic prospect that was interested in you, but you also found out that they weren't being exclusive, and that wasn't necessarily put on the table. It could have been that they were, especially a fire sign, or that they were maybe having an affair with a fire sign, or again, like kind of, even if you weren't exclusively dating, it's like you kind of were under the impression that you guys were a thing, and then you found out that they were also like hitting it with a fire sign, and that kind of broke your heart. So understandably so, you may have chosen to like pull out of that situationship, whatever it was. And I don't even think you gave them reason for it. I don't even think you gave them an explanation. You just kind of cut them off cold and entirely. And so the thing is, that person probably knows what's up, but they're still presenting here in this reading as playing kind of dumb. Like, what did I do? Why isn't Aquarius texting me anymore? Like, there's this, it's like, well, because you were hitting it with someone else. That's why. And obviously that's not everyone. I know some of the cross watchers are in this reading going, that wasn't me. I didn't do anything. So it's not your story then, right? And just there's so many people showing up in this reading. There's like a lot of energy. There's like a lot of energy. So the Knight of Swords is your center card. So we have to remember that's Gemini energy. It's mutable. It's spread out. It's not this concentrated focus energy. It's mental energy that goes a little bit here, a little bit there, right? It's a mutable sign. It's changeable. It's adaptable. It's variable. So that says to me, in the coming month, whenever you're reading this, right? That's sort of what the vibe is for your romantic life. It's a little bit here, it's a little bit there, it's a little bit scattered. So I see that as maybe casually dating, trying people on for size, but I don't necessarily see this huge expression of energy going to sort of one romantic interest. And again, if it's not necessarily resonating for you romantically, it's a little bit of energy here and there and there. Maybe it's work, maybe it's friends, your social life, maybe it's going on a date, maybe it's very spread out, your energy. There isn't this like great outpouring of love and romance and adoration for one person right now. There just isn't. Ooh, interesting. All right, so then the Two of Cups, the Mother Star. This deck has some interesting cards in it. Let's see, and then the Nine of Swords. Yeah, there could be the loss of, or grieving the loss of some important mentor figure in your life. Potentially a female figure, a maternal figure. It could also be a parent, right? There's something about that coming through. I also think there's like a more spiritual message here of like that person is still very much with you. You may actually be having very active dreams about this person, like vivid dreams of them showing up and giving you guidance, or just showing up and having like a presence in your life. And so that should be taken as sort of a message of encouragement that this person is still with you and supporting you in a more spiritual sense. Some of you just needed to hear that, like you're still surrounded by like, your angel guides or whatever you believe in as a higher power, but specifically someone that, I definitely feel a loss here. Again, mother-father energy is coming through. They're still with you. And there might be messages for you in your dreams. Some of you, it's like you're wishing you could have a talk with this person. It could even be a sibling. Especially an older sibling, you're wishing you could talk with this person and get their advice on your current situation, whether it's at work or again in your dating life, because you really valued their opinion. And I feel for some of you, you feel isolated, like you don't have a lot of outlets where you feel like you can fully express yourself authentically and talk about, more intimate things that maybe make you feel more vulnerable. You have sort of this armor on, right? This sort of defense of, impenetrable, right? But I don't know. So for some of you, it's like there's dating prospects, but you're just simply not interested. Others of you, things are getting more serious in a commitment, and you're just sort of like, this is all happening. Even if it's not happening fast, because I don't think it is. I think for those who have been in a relationship, it's like the natural progression of this is probably for things to get more, locked down and exclusive, whatever that means. It's not necessarily that it's happening fast, but it's like you're not necessarily ready for it, or it feels like it's happening very fast because you've had a lot of other major events happening in your life that have taken your time and energy and focus away. For those who your parents, whether they're here in you know in the 3D world right now, or you know in the spiritual realm, your parents are looking down on you and they're very proud of you. Your ancestors too. Maybe that has to do with aunts, uncles, grandparents. There's something about your roots and your family are supporting you. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Capricorn. 8 of Wands, yeah, like they want to move forward with you. There could also be a long distance relationship with some of those signs that I just mentioned, or someone who lives at quite a distance from you. They may be messaging you via text or calling you up on the phone. I suppose you could connect with them on a dating app, but I mean, your radius or your distance would have to be very widespread. So it could be that you were just passing through town or traveling through some town and connected with someone who lives in a very different location from where you would consider home or where you normally reside. There might be potential for a very strong like electric connection there. But again, it's sort of this like in and out, like and I'm not faulting you for this because I don't think you're doing it purposely or intentionally, but you're giving people like these false leads. Like, they meet up on a date and you're very fun and flirty and whatever, but then you go home and then it's just like you disconnect. Like they never hear from you again. You're a little heartbreaker, Aquarius. That's what I get out of this. Heartbreaker. Especially for those who have strong Sagittarius in their chart. Something about Sagittarius is coming through here. So that message might be in reverse too. You might be dealing with a Sagittarius who is like hot and cold. Like when you're with them, they're alive and they're passionate. But then it's like you reach out a week later and they're nowhere to be found. Like they're in and out of your life. So I mean, that's not great, especially if you really want a commitment with this person and they're not letting you in just on their thoughts on where they stand. That doesn't bode too well for me. But 5 of Wands, yeah, there's conflict there. And in fact, 5 of Wands to me says there's competition. Someone feels like they're in competition for your love because you may have a significant other already, or vice versa. You may be catching feelings for someone who like their focus is not entirely just on you in terms of a romantic prospect. Gosh, this is kind of like this is a tricky reading this week, Aquarius. All right, let's see. Some of you may be in love with someone and there's a big age difference there, or vice versa. There could be like a 10, 15, 20-year age difference for some of you. And I hesitate to give this message because it does sound like judgmental. This is not coming from a personal place by any means, but I'm sort of just getting from the cards, like, be careful that this isn't mimicking some sort of hole or a lack of parental mentorship in which is being translated for someone, whether it's you or a dating prospect, of like searching for that figure that was never there. It's almost like someone grew up without a father. So it's not necessarily that they're ready to date, but they're looking for sort of that paternal energy of someone to take care of them. And that could go vice versa, right? There's something about, make sure you're not filling the gap of I know this is hard to put in words, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Like not having a parental unit and then seeking out those qualities in a mate when that's like a totally different thing, right? 4 of Cups, like there's contemplative energy here. Yearning, disillusion, boredom. I just feel like that's kind of showing up in your energy. It's not that you're not busy and have a lot to sort through. You do, but in terms of romance, at least, again, this is just like, a couple weeks, a month or two maybe. Like, you're just kind of like, like maybe putting out feelers and just not feeling like you're getting good bites back. So, I mean, you don't have to rush into anything. And quite frankly, I don't think you're going to, Aquarius. There's definitely some people who are hoping that you change your mind and go all in. Yeah, and the commitment with the Pisces is definitely showing up the strongest. I think that was a separate message in itself. But anyway, there are people available to you if you want to seek them out. But I mean, even for the cross watchers, I'm sort of giving you the heads up that Aquarius isn't necessarily looking to like lock it down. From what I see here, there's like very apprehensive energy of I think I'm ready to date, but then I'm not, or I like this person, but I'm not in love with this person, so I'm going to pull back my energy, but then I'm kind of lonely, so I'm going to go out on a date with them again and just, test it out and see. In terms of like long term, is there a small storyline I can get? 6 of Swords, forward movement, to the 7 of Swords. Yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Sorry, this was a bit of like I don't want to say a bummer reading. I think some of you needed to hear that it's okay to take your time and not rush into things. But yeah, it's not hot and heavy from what I see in the cards right now. So do with that what you will. Thanks for joining me, Aquarius. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.